are live. We are live on this beautiful Wednesday evening. How y'all doing? I'm feeling good. Hope y'all feeling good. It's the last day of Women's History Month, and we are here. Last time I said that was last episode was episode 5. I don't know how to count. So this is episode 5. We got 2 more, 7 episodes. So this is episode 5, and so excited. Who are we? We are your queens. What we do is we teach about African royalty through storytelling, song, and dance. And for maybe about 8 months now, we've been doing Behind the Crown series, where you get to meet the people behind your queens. We literally dress up like ancient African kings and queens, and you could book us for birthday parties, daycare centers, school presentations, private and big establishment. We've been around for over 6 years. We love what we do, and especially during this time where there is so much going on, the fact that we're able to spread love and light personally with our lives and our family and friends, we are so thankful. For those of you who are joining in, we thank you. Share this out. Take a moment. Share this out with your family and friends. Let them know that Your Queens is on, and we're talking about inner peace and healing. I got my beautiful, beautiful sister, Timmy LaRode, over here. Beautiful sister that I've known. We don't put a year on it. We've just known each other for hundreds and hundreds of years. We'll say that. My dear friend, quick story. I got tons of stories, but keep this. We have a lot of experiences together. I want to say maybe about 2010 or so, she told me that we're going to do something together. And about 5 years later, Your Queens came about, and she actually named a company with me together in my brownstone apartment in Brooklyn in 2014. So I love you, Timmy. Say hello to the people.
Hello, everyone. Love you too, Queen.
So good to have you. So also, every time. Oh, did you want to add something?
No, I'm just saying hi. I don't know if are we doing a full introduction now or?
Sure, tell them a little bit about yourself, what you do, different things like that.
Yes. Thank you for introducing me. My name is Timmy LaRode, and I play Goddess Isis of Your Queens, and I'm so honored to be here. And today, in Peace and Healing, it's all about what I do. I am a Reiki practitioner, a shamanic practitioner, and I'm a meditator. I lead meditation and guided shamanic meditation. So this topic is all about what I do and what I embody. And I am so excited to be here to share whatever that I have. And yeah, and to be amongst you both and whoever else that is joining. So thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Love you, love you. Thank you,
Love
thank you for
you.
being here. So, every time we have our episode, we have to have a special guest on here. And I'm very meditative or very conscious of the type of guests that we have on our show. Definitely always want to have someone that is connected with Your Queens as well, and just someone that really truly we see them as a Black queen, Black king, entrepreneur we see you, we recognize you doing great work. And for our family and friends to connect into these type of conversations. And I usually say not only conversations but in actions. But tonight we have Queen. I'm going to read her bio, and then I'm going to have her share after, because it's beautiful. Listen to every word. Support this beautiful queen. Bless rocks well, aims to ease the juxtaposition of this material world and your awakened life through different energy healing modalities offered at Life Beam Energetics, which she started back in 2014. The name Life Beam Energetics comes from blessed belief that we are all beings of beings. I love that. Of life on this plane. Energetic encompasses all she offers in the form of Reiki healing, workshops and classes, guided meditation, and her signature mindset shifting experience. I just love how that sounds. I could feel it. Expansion coaching method. Bless is a Reiki master and is currently completing her master's degree. Congratulations in mental health and wellness counseling at NYU Steinhardt. In addition to holding certification in cognitive behavioral therapy, integrative wellness life coaching, life purpose coaching, guided meditation, and science of happiness that incorporates this extensive background and training into her work with clients. In 2018, she released her new book, 9 Steps to Walk in Your Purpose, continuing her mission to transform lives and elevate vibrations, all of that. Queen Bless, say hello to the people. So happy to have you.
Hello, everyone. Oh my gosh, you made that sound so good. I was like, oh, she's dope.
That's
um,
you. That's you.
so, yeah, that's me. And I'll be graduating from NYU in May. Fingers crossed. Got to take that last exam, but next month. Um, I am somebody's therapist already, right? Because I'm in my internship wrapping up. So I meet with my clients. I'm already counseling. I get to counsel a lot of Black and brown people, which is awesome. I love that. We're going to get into that later because I know we have that on the table, right? And let's see. Yeah, expansion coaching is like, kind of fell into that. That was like one of those crown chakra inspiration moments that you just get hit with something. And I was like, that's what it is. It's like integration and calling back the fragmented self and the law of mental transmutation and, really understanding and seeing yourself as a whole and integrated being. And then by default, that leads you to expansion. It leads you to a wider vision of yourself and a deeper understanding of yourself and the impact that you have on the world. So, yeah, it really is. It's intense when people go through it, but I love it. And once I graduate, my plan is to like expand it. And I'm really on a mission. So I have a secret agenda, right? My secret agenda is that the way that I save the world is through what I call the ripple effect. Okay. Because there's research that shows that things like altruism and love and all those things are as contagious as like the bad stuff, And so I figure if we can impact one person at a time, this is not to say you're going to be happy all the time, right? Because nobody's happy all the time. We're talking about joy, okay? Core stuff. You know what I'm saying? That we're going to talk about inner peace. But so if we can get one person at a time into that vibrational frequency, they go out in the world and they automatically share it, and then it spreads, and then other people feel it, and then that's how we do it. That's my secret
100%.
agenda.
Yes. We're so in line with that. Wow.
That's my secret mission.
Yeah, I love it. No, it's so interesting because again, like what I find that's happening, especially now during this time, is this like minds are coming together because definitely it's one of our mission to help make the world a better place. So it's very weird. This is not no fake thing that we're trying to do here. It's a lifestyle to really bring people to know who they truly are, even through every phase in their life. Like you said, joy, like happiness. Yeah, you can go through up and down, but that joy. Thank you for the work that you do. Wow. How did we connect? Peace and hi, Stacy. That's my dancing queen. Peace and blessings, Stacy. Thank you for being here. Hope you had a beautiful Wednesday. Lord Vel and the League. What's going on, King? How are you? Happy Wednesday. Thank you for being here. We are your queens doing another episode of Behind the Crown. And I got two of my beautiful queen sisters here, Timmy LaRode and Bless Roxwell. We got to actually perform for your daughter right before
the world shut down. That last Black History Month when we didn't have to wear masks. That was when it happened.
Yo, why are we laughing? Wow.
Oh, because if we don't laugh, we're gonna cry, girl.
100%. Woo! Oh, that was a great experience. Just I miss just being around, and I know we'll get there soon, but we've been able to just do a lot of virtual events, and just we know that big word pivot, and it just shows how resilient, how strong, how deep down at the end we are joyful people, no matter what, right? Yeah, we are joyful people. So I wonder, how did we connect?
Probably her father, Charles.
Yes,
he was like, I think because we were at BAM or something, and I saw all y'all, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I know her," and I was like, "They look amazing," and he was like, "Yeah, they're dope," And then I think that's how like we connected, and then at her school, they were like, "We want to do something that's really like interactive for the kids for Black History Month. And I was like, oh, well, one of my missions in life is to always put my peoples on. So I was like, we should get your queens. I was like,
And we did that.
And we made that happen. So that's how we connected.
The connection, the village.
Yep. And she still talks. She still remembers it. It's so cute.
Lifetime.
She still remembers it. Yep.
The lifetime. Please
So
send her
powerful.
our love and blessings. One of my best friends, Elle, is on here. My sister, I love you. Thank you for being here. Such a huge supporter of just everything that I do. Redemption, how are you? Good evening to you. Good vibes. Good vibe. We receive that. Blessings. That's my sister. Y'all know Osa.
Hey, Osa.
Hi, Osa. Tell my babies I said hello. So I want to, yes, Dance Africa. Osa remembers that. Wow. And Missing Dance Africa as well. Connect. I know. Maybe next year, 2020. What? 20.
Well, this year.
Or this year? Well, we got a couple of months.
Fingers crossed this year. Fingers crossed.
Have y'all heard some good news?
No.
Wow.
If anything, is the opposite. That New York cases is going up. So no. But still, we can hope.
Just some fingers.
We're talking about a festival that we've all been a part of for. I've been going to Dance Africa for 30 years.
Wow.
30 years with my family and friends. Seriously. And yeah. So, I got to do a festival the other day with my sister. Shout out to Ray Holiday for the big black pop-up. And it felt so good being around people. It felt so good. So I'm definitely going to be doing more and more. You're going to see us out there doing more and more pop-ups. Mickey is on. Hi, beautiful. Can you hear us?
Yes. Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Could you wipe your camera a bit so we can see your beautiful queen face, please? Thank y'all. So Mickey is on. This is one of our queens as well. She lives out in Mississippi. Mickey started off as my assistant when she was younger, and now just a very close business partner to my. I don't believe in keeping people here. We spoke one day. I was like, you can't be my assistant no more. And real talk, right? Like, you can't be my assistant no more. We need to be here. I'm a firm believer in having people like you and bigger. Not, you get what I mean? Until we grow and build. Listen, I'm rambling just because I'm happy. I feel good. I'm vibing with y'all, family and friends. We're about to get into the first question. Inner peace and healing. Such an important topic. And definitely for me, this has been such a life-changing healing journey. I've seen myself blossom right in front of my eyes in so many different ways. So I'm so thankful to be able to do the work. So my first question is, and I'm going to have Timmy, if you can go first for me. And the first question is, do you believe therapy is important and why? And when I say therapy, for anyone, definitely going to speak with a professional. But in my mind, therapy, meditating, running, dancing, speaking with your close confidant, different things like that. So what are your thoughts on that question?
Hello again, everyone. Therapy. I definitely think therapy is very, very important. I remember us having discussion in the last panel, and growing up in Trinidad or in the Caribbean, that's definitely a thing that we're like, no, we don't need to go to therapy. We don't need that. It's just like unheard of. And, as I got older, it's so needed. It's so needed. And I wish that we were more comfortable with that, within the black culture, within the Caribbean culture. Like, hey, we need that work, and I personally, I've had like one therapy session before, and it was amazing, and now my type of therapy now is nature therapy. I go out in nature, sound therapy, and because there's so much forms of it, and we don't take advantage of what we have naturally out there for therapy. But talk therapy, having a counselor, it's so important for us to heal all of those wounds that we don't know, how to navigate it, so yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Absolutely. Thank you. And also thank you for the work that you're doing. I know you provide healing and therapy session through drum sounds and just being present, your energy alone, one-on-one and two groups. So thank you for the work that you're doing as well. Yeah. I totally agree with you. And that you said also myself coming from a Caribbean and an African background, that wasn't something normal. And I believe that we are beginning to change that thought. I believe that we're making it, as we're talking about it right now. Like as soon as I hear someone say, "Oh, I'm about to go to my therapist," or "I just spoke to my therapist," I'm just like, "Yes, you better work on." Like how we have to change that now. How beautiful is that? Oh my God! Because listen, we've all experienced trauma, and that we'll get into that later. And when we say that, I want to probably repeat this later on too. Doesn't make it. It's some of it is bad through the experiences, but it's your experience. I know that through my experiences of what I've gone through, I use that as what the work I do now when I teach students or working with my queens or working with people is it's part of that journey. So yeah, normalizing therapy and where we see it as just a great thing, a beautiful thing that we are doing, not only for ourselves, for the next generation, right? Fire Zone, my big mentor, Blessings King. How are you? Happy Wednesday. One of our favorite people in the entire world. We appreciate you. So, Queen Bless, let's talk about it. Therapy. Do you feel like
You
it's
know, it's my
important?
bag. You know, this is my bag right here.
Yes.
So the short answer is yes. I think therapy is important. And I remember I had my very, very first therapy session, like second therapy session, because I had one when I was like 18 or 19 years old, but it didn't stick. But then in 2010, I had one. And I remember telling some friends of mine that I was going through therapy because I was going through a really bad breakup, and I was like, I needed some support. And their response was, why are you doing that? You just gonna tell people all your business, you're gonna put your business out in the street, da 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 da. And I said, no, I'm gonna pay somebody to listen to me because y'all don't. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, at a very basic level, that's what therapy is. It's like we don't really understand how often we need to be heard, how often we are not heard because our friends they have their own lives, they're doing their own things, and they will hold space for us as much as they can, but a therapist is literally there to do nothing else but hold space for you, and there is something that's really transformative about that, because we don't realize how infrequently we have that, and to have someone that is listening to you in a non-judgmental way, in a way that that on some level empowers you, but doesn't empower you because they know you. You know what I mean? It's almost like they're actually seeing who you really are without any bias, and then they're still able to empower you. So that has kind of a different connotation to it. So yeah, one of my number one missions with becoming, when I graduate, I'll be a licensed mental health counselor. And one of my number one missions is demystifying the process of therapy so people know what they're getting into, right? And know what to expect when they get there. And then destigmatizing it, to Timmy's point, like, it's completely normal to not want to tell your deepest, darkest secrets because you might be judged, But when I tell you that one of our greatest weaknesses, I think, as a human race is shame, you know what I mean? Shame will keep you in a prison, and when you go to therapy, that's not there. There's no shame, because you can't have shame in that room, because then you can't get through to the root of it, to the core of it. So shame and judgment are removed, and then having even that, right, not having a space where you can tell that deepest, darkest secret and not be judged and not feel ashamed, that is hugely transformative for people as well. And so I think that therapy is so necessary, particularly for our communities. And when I found out that there was, and I always I always share this statistic because it's so heartbreaking, and I want people to realize how serious this is. So from 2000 to 2017, suicide rates among young adolescent Black children, I call them children, adolescents, um, males was like 73% increase, and females was 132%. We are in crisis. Like, we are in crisis. And I had this moment January last year, where I sat there and I said, I can't imagine being like a little 12-year-old kid, 12-year-old Black or brown child. You're sitting there with a counselor that doesn't look like you, has no clue what you've been through, and you have to explain yourself in a way that you hope they understand so they can help you. But then on top of that, you have to translate your whole experience as a child of color in this country. Like that. And I was just like, if you have a counselor of color or a counselor that reflects what you look like, that may be removed. You may not have to do that. You know what I'm saying? And that's just one more barrier that's now been removed. So I also advocate for as many people as possible to jump up in this field and start, people of color, Black and brown people, to start really getting in these trenches and helping these children and help. Like, it's work. I'm not gonna lie. Like, my head explodes on a regular basis. My head is exploding right now with all of the things moving around in it. But that being said, it is worth it. It is absolutely worth it, because when I'm working with my client who, I'm helping her get past her husband's diagnosis, and she has to adjust herself, and she's in her 60s, and it's an older Black woman, and she's just like, this has been an amazing process. I'm so grateful for it. Like that. I know that I'm really impacting lives, and I'm doing it in other ways with coaching and with Reiki also, of course, absolutely, particularly when teaching, and Timmy can relate to this, when teaching people meditation, or, you put your hands on them and they're like, oh, I felt that, like those kind of things as well. And then when you also throw in the therapeutic process of healing and understanding yourself better, right? Because that's really what it's about. Understanding yourself better and how you process the world around you and how you process your experience. When you throw all that together, you are really on the road to healing. You are absolutely on the road to healing. Gosh, I just did so much talking.
No, and it's perfect. That's what we're here for. And this is also the Ranters Union. Shout out to my brother Logic. That is what this platform is for. You're great. You're great. And we need it. That's why we have you here. Somebody said, salute, Don Philly. What's going on? Peace and blessing. We're talking therapy. Peace, my King Sean, one of my greatest friends on here. Y'all are showing, man. These are like my besties up on here. I appreciate y'all. He's out there in the community working, and he's tuning in. I love you. I love you. My sister Osa, therapy is outsourcing for your mental health. Yeah. It's so important. Hi, line sister. New mommy. Hi, queen. How are you? Peace and blessings. I appreciate all the love, guys. We're talking therapy. Answer in the comments, do you believe therapy is important or not? Of course, we want to say yes. I say those questions because I don't want to be biased for anyone. And we're totally open to anyone that says no. I've had a bad therapy experience in college. And then I've had a great one in my early 30s. So you go through that process. And right now, my form of therapy at the moment is a prayer, like really deep prayer has been so transformative, and fasting. So it's just like and you brought up a great point, Bless. Like, just a few things I want to give light to. You will graduate in May. We gonna see it.
That's right.
You gonna celebrate that?
It's virtual. I might send everybody a link. I had a whole internet at my graduation.
Yes, I can't. We're gonna be in there. Okay, so I'm gonna put light to that. Also too, it's depression is real, suicide is real. Those things. For anyone, I will check on you. If you're on my mind, I'm just gonna check on you. That's just how I roll. I have people that I may speak to weekly or not for a while. So saying that for audience, family, and friends. And let go, forgive, whatever it is, because life is so precious. I always go by the 4 agreements. Be impeccable with your words. Always do your best. Don't take anything personal. Don't make any assumption. It will free you. It will free you, because at the end of the day, we are all flawed. So, right? But as long as you know a person has a good heart, we can get through anything. And then you find your village, find your crew who are changing the world in the most beautiful place. So thank you for sharing those statistics, which is so important. And just to say, check on. So anyone that's going through any depression, any mental health, any sickness, I rebuke it or take it away, and just continue to know that you are not alone and that you are here for a purpose, a reason. Your legacy is blessed. Hold on. And when you go through it, whatever it is, whatever process that you go through, you're going to come out stronger. I promise you. I promise you. Agreements. Yes, line sister. And then was it you or Nefertiti, another one of my besties on here, understanding yourself better and how you process everything around you equal healing. Yes, yes, yes. Congrats in advance, Osa.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it happen.
You'll make it have therapy. It's necessary. Thank you, sis. It is the way you check up or check in on your mental health. Same way you go to the doctors for your annual physical. And so thank you for saying that, sis. Because again, let's normalize therapy where we say it. And now I think sometimes we really need to see what it is. Like, oh, the way I go to the doctor when something hurt. So now, okay, let me check in, right?
Yeah.
Mickey. Did you want to add, Bless?
No, so I was just gonna say that sometimes these things can be hard to recognize, right? So like depression, sometimes you can have a really low grade, mild depression, you know? So it's really, really important, and Timmy will appreciate this as well, I advocate for body awareness, right? And paying attention to what is going on in your body. How are you feeling? You know, are you feeling tired, but you're not able to sleep? Because tired but not able to sleep can be depression. You know what I mean? Because it can make you feel that fatigue, you know? And I tell people, when you're looking at like your chakras, right? Like sometimes with the solar plexus chakra, because that's that ego place, right? That's where sometimes anxiety can live. So when you are, you know, how are you feeling? What's your tummy feeling like? You know what I mean? What's your back feeling like? Because that's sometimes anxiety can live there because you're carrying stuff with your back and your shoulders. And, you know, this is where your center is, you know what I mean? And when you're anxious or you're kind of thrown off center, so you'll feel it here in that solar plexus area. So like, pay attention to your body, just to give people like actionable things that they can take away from this.
Yes, please. Yes.
Pay attention to your body and what it's telling you, and then go with that. You know, don't ignore your headaches, right? Sometimes when you have and not just your body, your responses to things that happen, right? Triggers. You see something on Instagram, right? I'm gonna pull up Derek Jackson because he was popular last week, right? You see him on Instagram, you see him on the gram, right? And you feel something, you feel triggered, okay? So you could be triggered by the wife, you could be triggered by him, okay? Either one. Go down that rabbit hole. Start to really explore why you're triggered. Go into your therapist, right? Go into your therapist and say, look, this triggered me. Because seriously, all jokes aside.
That's such a good one. That's such a good
one. All
one.
jokes aside, he has narcissistic tendencies. I'm not his therapist. I can't diagnose him, but he has narcissistic tendencies. If you're triggered by that, there may be somebody in your life that is reflecting that, and you need to examine that. You know what I mean? So like if you're triggered by his partner, his wife's response, right? We won't speak on it, but she seems like she could use support. You know what I mean? So if you're triggered by that, then you have to say, okay, maybe there's places in my life where I'm responding like that. I'm approaching it like that. And that's why it's triggering for me. You know what I'm saying? So when you get triggered by things or things pop up for you, don't just brush them off to the side and be like, nah. You know, our feelings are valid because our feelings are our guideposts and they point us in the directions that we need to go for our healing. So don't ignore them. They're transient. They're not permanent. They totally temporary. But when they pop up, pay them some mind because they will take you straight to your healing.
Ooh, that last part. They will take you straight to your healing. These are not just words. These queens do this work. Do this work. I want to have, thank you, Bless. My queen, Hi, Queen Ramona. Shout out to Queen Ramona. I love to give y'all love and light. Ramona is one of our we have a rites of passage program for young girls. She's one of our mothers. She has twins. And she's we got her all over your queen. She also has we also have a mentorship program for young boys. So she has Ashley and Ashton in our program that we launched this year and has already been life transformative. We appreciate you, Queen. Queen Mickey, let's go.
One, I just want to say, I just feel like this is so needed and necessary. I definitely feel like I'm in the presence of greatness, even far away in Mississippi. Every time someone has said something so far in my head, I'm like, let me take my notes, but then I'm like, wait, I got more to say. So let me give a general spiel. I said in the beginning, normalizing conversation and actually speaking to people and not at them is so important. So many times we're just speaking at people, like, do this, do that. But how many times are we actually listening to them? And then another thing I realized when everyone started speaking, therapy does not make you insane. It can help you be more responsible and accountable with your life and your actions. So that's something else to keep in mind. And like, I believe her name is Bless, she said, pay attention to the signs. Pay attention to the signs. Sometimes you might feel like the weight of the world is on you figuratively, and then sometimes it might be on you depending on how much you take in. And I think that's also to say too, for the people who are normally givers, yes, it's okay to give, but what are you receiving or taking back as well? And I know for me, I give so much, and Miss Eki could tell you, my best friend Shan could tell you too, you have to reciprocate what you want and be okay with the fact that whoever you choose to invest in, whether it is at your job, it is a significant other, whatever, let them pour back into you so you're not just pouring yourself dry while everyone else is building their wealth and knowledge up and you're just depleted at the end. So it is very important to have therapy, have people who you can communicate with, and they can do the same for you.
Wow, that was very clear, very good. I mean, same way that you feel that you are amongst greatness, I feel like same way in the presence. And it's funny, like this for our audience and family or family, y'all know the deal. For those who are new, learning about us, this is how we talk to each other on a regular. Especially when you put God first, especially when you put the higher power first, it's everything that is in line. A few things I want to take away. Mickey said, listen. That's such a gift. Who, when you listen, and I've said this before, I'm very like repetitive because the same way like Bless has a like secret formula. My thing is being consistent with things I say. So like later on, if somebody told me I'm gonna write a book one day and it's gonna have these Eki sayings on there. So I'll say you got 2 ears, 1 mouth for a reason, right? 2 ears to listen, 1 mouth for a reason. We're built this way for a reason. There's life, energies, all this thing. I even think about people like Einstein and Newton who were really trying to to study what was going on bigger in this world. Something else Bless was saying about reflection. Sarah Din, one of my queens, is on here. I love you. I miss you. Blessings, queen. We are talking inner peace and healing. We are your queens. The question is, therapy is important. We have Queen Bless on here, Queen Timmy and Queen Mickey. Just reflecting off what some of the queens were saying. Bless was talking about reflection. It's the same thing. We're a reflection of each other. Right. And sometimes like we don't understand that. But no, the same way you brought up the thing about that guy. I don't want to say his name. I'm not saying his name because everybody talked about that situation. But a lot of us were triggered by that. Let's keep it real. We were like,
that's why I brought him up, because a lot of us was triggered by that. Stop crying.
I was big mad for like the whole day. Like, and again, we laughing from being upset. But we are all a reflection of each other. We are in this world together. I love you, queens. Absolute. Same here. Same here. We need this conversation. And I put down give to peeps. My notes don't make sense. I don't know what that means, but we're going to jump in. I'll come back to it. Our brother Nathaniel is on here, one of our kings. Peace and blessing. I love y'all. Y'all are awesome. I think he's supposed to be in class right now, and he's jumping on this live. We appreciate you. Nate, if you can hear us, you're literally right on time on the first question. And let's keep it to like a minute or two because I want to get on the second question and really give some time to that one as well. What does is therapy important? Do you feel like it's important? Yes or no? And why? Could you hear us? You can hear us?
Yes, I could definitely hear you.
Yes.
Okay.
Hello,
You,
everyone.
how are you? You're alive. You're alive. We thankful to have you. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you.
Yes, it's good to be blessed and alive. God bless America. Baruch Hashem.
How do you feel about therapy? Do you think it's important and why?
Therapy, I think therapy is extremely important. I actually was refusing to get therapy. I'll be back. I was refusing to get therapy for a while from my ex-girlfriend, and she kind of like, you know, explained the importance of it. And I was skeptical, as most black males are. Not only black males, but black people. Period. A lot of us don't get therapy. And so I do believe that therapy is important, but I do stipulation on that is that you always need to have a therapist that you trust and someone that you're more comfortable with. So if you do get a therapist, don't think that having the therapist at the first time you meet a therapist, that's the only solution. You might have to shop around for the right therapist. And I feel like I got that recently in 2020, first time I ever saw a therapist and ever like remained consistent with seeing one.
Wow, I love that. Thank you for sharing. And I love that we got a black man perspective saying therapy is important. I want to add a quick question. What is something that you feel changed your life from getting therapy?
Oh, I think a lot of times I was always going to people for advice that knew me. Right? People that always knew me or have a certain agenda for me. They're not coming from an unbiased perspective. They're coming from, oh, I know you as a kid. I know the direction you're going in. Oh, you shouldn't talk to this girl. You shouldn't take this job. You shouldn't do that, because they have their own agenda for you. And they may come from your community. They may come from your family. They also may come from like your religious community. So they might have a religious objective. But a therapist is someone who's licensed, to my perspective, someone who's licensed to deal with certain things like trauma, like depression, etc. Right? And they're really like educated on how to deal with people like that. And so as you shop around for your therapist, I think it's important for you to be open. That's the first thing, and kind of like submit to your therapist. Be very, very honest and open. And I think that the question you basically asked was, how does it change my life? It changed my life because it allowed me to be more honest with myself. Simply, right? I was very, very in denial, and even right now, I'm in denial of a lot of things that I'm responsible for and accountable for. But I think that going through the process of seeing the therapy is beginning to alleviate some of the dishonest like character I had with my own self, and putting on this image of who I was or who I thought I was. Because COVID really hit, right? And it hit us hard. It put us into a reality check financially, emotionally, like just everyday things, right? And so like once you go see a therapist and you're really honest with that person and you're really sharing your flaws and sharing your successes with them, they can better assist you in getting into a better like understanding of your journey for your future.
Yeah. Oh my God. I felt all of that. And I could even feel your authentic presence just even sharing that truth. Thank you. Yeah. So I remember what I wrote down earlier, and it was what to Mickey. Peace, Chris Jones. Good day, King. Thank you for being here. We are talking inner peace and healing, therapy, why it's important, which takes you into inner peace and healing. But something what Mickey said was being mindful. As I'm a giver too, and it's so funny as we constantly grow and learn more about myself and ourselves. I got into this kind of like not a shock, a reality check, which I always knew, but I got into a recent reality check about myself. I give a lot. Give. But and because I grew up as a Christian, grew up in the Bible, be kind to everyone, be kind. But definitely it left me a little empty, right? So then I would have to get the right people to help me, of course, through God and prayer and meditation. But now I've learned like, oh, that through therapy, through prayer, I learned that I can't change that about myself. For those of you guys, there's some of us in this world who are just super loving, super giving. We're not going to change that. We're not going to end up now being all nasty and mean. But what you need to do is being mindful of who you share it with. That's the difference. That will make it unlock. So you surround yourself with the right people, and we'll pour. Mickey, we pour into each other all the time. The other day, I'm at a festival. She's like, I want to buy this. Okay, I got it for you. Pay for this. I'll pay for the shipping. Like, we know who to pour. So for those who feel depleted and know that they are loving and given, be conscious of who you're giving it to, because your life is so valuable and people will take advantage of that. And not say the people you stop giving to are bad people or anything like that. You just know it's your journey, your path. Sometimes, and this is coming from a real sensitive woman, sometimes you're going to have to be selfish for yourself. I had to do a lot of sitting down to see, I'm like, okay, I'm this given person. You can't do that with everybody. Right? Anybody want to jump on that before we go into the next question? Go ahead, Bless, and then Mickey.
And I was gonna just add, oh man, so much I want to jump on, but I was gonna just add that, to really fast to Nathaniel's point about the therapist that you're choosing. Therapists are like dating, right? And so I've had bad experiences and good experiences with therapists. And so, yeah, you may not get the right one the very first time out. That's okay. Don't give up. Don't stop. Okay. And then to the point about giving is just I would, as somebody therapist, right? If you was to walk in and say, I feel like I give too much, right? I would ask you to think about why. What are your motives, right? And so, yes, absolutely, I 100% agree with you, and it's weird because that's, as a coach and then as a therapist, those are two different lanes, right? And so as a coach, I would say what you just said, which is, yes, set some boundaries and be clear about who you give into, right? Because takers don't have boundaries. They will continue to take as long as you give, right? But then as somebody's therapist, I would want you to go deeper to understand what your motivations are and what's driving you to give to the point of depletion. Because there's a question in there and there's healing waiting for you in there. You know what I'm saying? Because that stop mechanism of, okay, I'm giving too much now, I'm being depleted, I'm being taken advantage. There's something it's not popping up. You know what I'm saying? Or it's taking too long to pop up, or whatever the situation is. And so there's a space for healing in there where, yeah, why do I give so much? Like, why, what is it what is it about me that these people I'm interacting with are able to get this much out of me? Right. And so it's taking you deeper down that rabbit hole, and having that person, that therapist there, that's the person that you can go down that rabbit hole with to kind of tie it all together. So that's all I want to add.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing that. 100%. And it's that, what is it that it could be deep or not. What are you avoiding? What are you missing? You know what I mean? Where's that coming from? And we'll get into the next question, which ties right into that. But Mickey, jump right. Nefertiti said that part. Be mindful of who you share it with. Be conscious of who. Yeah, Mickey, not Mickey. Nefertiti is such a great, great, great friend. Like, she really takes time. We hold space for each other to talk about really authentic things. So again, yeah, you may have therapy, but you're going to have your day ones that are also going to hold space for you. Discernment, Saradin. Yeah. Forgiveness as well. Discernment. Keen and peace. Isn't your honest subconscious the best therapist? I just can't see myself talking to a stranger about all my inner thoughts and feeling. It takes time, Keenan. Everyone's journey, and I'm gonna have you guys who are experts to, if you want to jump in on that. It takes time.
I would definitely say, like Miss Eki said, it takes time. And then also, you don't have to tell your therapist everything. Feel that person out. See how they respond body wise, facial wise, when you start to say certain things. Do you notice if you're talking about something, their face might scrunch up? It's all about perception. How are they taking and receiving the information that you are presenting? And then from there, you can see whether you choose to, whether you want to continue, or if you think, okay, this is not for me. So, to answer your statement, I would say that your subconscious can be one of the best therapies that you have, but it doesn't have to be your only form of therapy. So, it's just a choice that you have to make for you.
Timmy, did you want to add?
Yes, I wanted to add, but it, like you said, it falls into the next question, so I'm just like waiting.
Okay,
Um,
yes. Y'all, we talked for almost an hour. Good advice, Francis, on this one question. Whew, all right, y'all. All right. We're gonna also takers don't have boundary. That is true. Yep. Yeah. 100%. Roddy Rush, peace, brother. How you doing? Blessings. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. You're awesome. Also, we aren't taught to establish boundaries in childhood. It needs to start there. Love you, sir. And I felt that. I gotta get you up on here for the next show. I love you. That's our nickname. You blowing up my nickname. She calls me Wawa. I appreciate you. Queen B. All right, next question. I'm gonna have Timmy jump on it first, and then Bless, and then Mickey. And Nathaniel, if he's still on, I do believe that he's in to jump on it as well. So the next question is, and also family and friends, just like how we're all vibing, chiming in the comments. How do you feel trauma from your childhood and our ancestors' enslavement has affected us now? I know. Go right ahead, Queen.
well, I wanted to say something about we're giving too much. And I was just like, okay, this question is going to fall right into the answer to what I want to say is going to fall right into that. Because I'm a huge giver, big giver. Like I will forget about Timmy and help everybody else. And for me, that goes with childhood trauma and also falls back into perhaps also enslavement because I found that I've been abandoning myself, you know, and because we're giving so much, we're abandoning everything that we want from ourselves, abandoning our dreams, abandoning every single thing, avoiding stuff that we want to do in our lives, and we just give. And I remember a few weeks ago, I was like processing some stuff, and I realized, like, damn, Timmy, I've literally abandoned my little child, the little child within me. I left her, and I was continue just helping other people, you know. And it just shows, like, you know what, how much work that we have to do to go back to our little child, go back into meditate back into the slave ship and heal them and heal the little child, heal the woman, heal all of these things. And because they've also been
I
abandoned
just gotta
too.
pause and just say, wow. But go ahead.
You know, so and right now I would say abandonment is how it affects us now because we're giving so much. We have really abandoned ourselves like so much and and this will fall into the next question, and we have to go back and reparent ourselves and go back and heal. Like there's so much, but I wanted to add that from what we were talking about and bringing it into this question. But yeah, we give so much because we are literally abandoning, you know, ourselves. And I'm healing from that a lot. So
Yeah,
thank
thank
you.
you for sharing. I felt
Mm-hmm.
that. Yeah, we're all doing the work individually together and creating these conversations and doing the work knowing. I think it's such a powerful thing to know where it comes from, like, oh, but even like Nate said earlier, he's like, I'm excuse me if I'm messing up, but I'm still doing things that I know I'm doing not wrong. You get what I mean? I'm like, me in a month from now is going to be different from who I am right now. I'm not the same person I was yesterday. but we can have these conversations and remove the ego and know that our ancestors were enslaved, but we always got to know before that we were kings and queens is why we teach and do what we do, because of the mentality, the self-esteem building that needs to be done within us and now as a people. Thank you for sharing, Timmy. Whoo, Queen Bless.
Thank you, Timmy. Okay. Whew. All right. So 2 things to answer this question. Unfortunately, I have to do a hard jump off at 7 because I have to do school stuff. But I'm glad I got to jump in on this question. So 2 things.
So much.
The first thing is a story that I share with clients when I'm talking about beliefs, right? So the woman cuts off the ends of the loaf of her bread, right? Somebody asked her, said the daughter asked her, whoever, why do you do that? She said, that's the way it's done. But it made her question herself, right? So she goes to her mother and she says, I think I learned that from you. Why do you do that? And she said, because that's the way it's done. And then she goes to her mother, because now she's thinking about it, right? And she says, why do we cut the ends off of the bread? And the grandmother, this is the grandmother now, grandmother says, well, because my bread loaf wouldn't fit in my bread box. So 2 whole ass generations later, they still cutting the ends off the bread. Right? So there's that sort of analogy to help us understand how beliefs get passed down, right? And if those beliefs are rooted in trauma, then those beliefs that are being passed down are traumatic, okay? And then the last part is a new field. I say new, but in science, that means like 10, 15 years. Epigenetics. It's the field of epigenetics. And the field of epigenetics is the idea of nature and nurture coming together to influence our genetic expression. And so that means that children who are growing up in environments where there are high rates of violence and so on and so forth, really traumatic experiences and environments, that is actually changing their DNA. It is actually changing their genetic expression. When those genes change, mutations, those get passed down to the children that those people then have, right? And what they found also is you can have a mutation in your gene that is turned on by something in the environment, right? So if that stimuli in the environment isn't there, then that will lay dormant, but having that stimuli in the environment will flick that on, okay? So when we're talking about generational trauma is a very real thing that they have found shapes your brain. That's the way that they say it. It's called ACEs. It's adverse childhood experiences. And they have found that trauma actually shapes your brain. Side note, a lot of Black and brown children are misdiagnosed in school. As a result of it, they're misdiagnosed with ADHD, oppositional defiant disorder, conduct disorder, all these things, when in fact it's trauma because somebody got shot on a block the night before. That's not being paid any attention to, so they're just being diagnosed. So there are many different factors at play when we talk about generational impact and ancestral impact, because we haven't even, that is a heavy conversation. There's a great book by Dr. Joy DeGroy called Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. And I mean, that is an intense conversation because we do have to look at it not just sort of, ontologically, right? So the reality that we create for each other, our parents create for us as Black people in this country, and society creates for us as Black people in this country. But we also have to look at it genetically. We have to look at what has been passed down and how that impacts us as a community and how we interact with each other, because if we're looking at the bread box situation and, Black men are taught to not trust Black women, or Black women are taught to not believe Black men can protect them, or whatever it is, those are beliefs, you know what I mean? And those beliefs are passed down, and so it's on us to, as Nathaniel said, to really get in touch with our authentic selves, and really get to know who we are as individuals and the individuals make up a collective, right? So once we really get to know who we are as individuals and what my trauma is and where it's coming from, I can be that link in the chain that says, I'm done. This trauma isn't going any further than here. I acknowledge it. I see it. I condemn no one for it, right? Because this ain't about blame, okay? Because that's a whole other energetic thing, you know? This is just about acknowledgement and acceptance. Because when we get to, I'm going to miss the inner peace question, but I was thinking about it earlier and I was like, inner peace. You know, for me, inner peace is really acceptance and understanding things as they are and then moving accordingly, you know, because that allows you to stay grounded when the world is like flying around you. At least you're able to see things for what they are. You know what I'm saying? And discernment, like the sister said earlier, right? You're able to see things for what they are and discern which way you need to go and which way you need to move. That's inner peace. You know, you're not taken out of your space because there's a storm next to you. You're still able to see and say, this is where I need to go and how I need to move. You know what I'm saying? So generationally, be the one that stops it. Let that buck stop with you, whether that's through therapy, meditation, Reiki, sound healing, breath work, you know, whatever it is, you know what I mean, that gives you peace and allows you to feel safe, you know what I'm saying, in understanding who you are. Do it. Do it for the rest of us. I'm saying do it for me, damn it. That's what I'm doing. Do it for my baby. Do it for all of us.
Oh, wow. Bless. That was everything. Family and friends, supporters, definitely support Bless Roxwell, Queen Bless Roxwell of Life Beams Energetic. She is here for us. She is here for you. Please reach out to her. Definitely ask her questions. Support this Black Queen. She is doing great work. I mean, just few things. You're saying don't blame. That is a whole nother thing right there. Sometimes we blame and don't realize we're pointing at everybody else, but it's like you one finger pointing, you got the rest of them pointing at you. A lot of times you got to do the work. It ain't about them. And then you say that inner peace as well is being able to see accept what it is and knowing how to move it. You got to see it with two eyes, very clear of what it is. Anything you need to work on, you don't point, you look at yourself. And when you talked about generation, like the bread, you got to ask questions. So she asked, oh, it just can't fit. Ask the questions. You passing it on down and down and down. Wow. Queen, thank you for being here. We won't be, I know you have to go for the kings and queens. I promise we'll be done in about 15 minutes or less. Bless, we usually close out with an affirmation. Can you give us one word from this whole experience that you would like to share?
One word from this whole experience that I would like to share: gratitude. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that we're having these conversations, that people want to have these conversations. Because when I had my spiritual awakening in 2012, didn't nobody want to talk to me. They was like, you be talking too much about that spirit stuff, right? And all that healing shit. What are you talking about all that healing stuff for? And like, I'm so grateful.
Remember Lauren Hill? She went through hers how many years ago?
This is what I like. I'm so grateful that we're here now. So, and I'm so grateful for the platform and for all. I see you. She brightens my day. Miss Eki be brightening my day with her little positivity. Sometimes I'll be in the middle of something and I see it and I'm like,
you too, though. You. Bless. You too. Same here.
See, that's because we reflected. That works. This is reflection in real time.
I read something and I'm like, oh, I'm about to go change the world because Bless said so.
This is reflection in real time, y'all. Oh my gosh. Please follow me on Instagram. Find me on the web, socials. I'm all over the place. Bless Roxwell. I'm more than happy to talk and support and in any way I can. All right. And I love y'all.
Money for us.
Thank you.
Yes, I will. Yes. I will. All right, y'all take care.
You too,
Bye.
love.
Bye.
Thank you. Mickey, I'm going to have you jump on the question. Do you feel that your childhood trauma and enslavement from our ancestors, how has it affected us now? Did I jack up the question? Let me read it properly. Do you feel trauma from childhood and our ancestors' enslavement has affected us now? Damn.
I would say yes, and it really does depend on your environment. So for me, I grew up in a Caribbean household. So a lot of things I was taught, it was like, you're supposed to do this and it's just because I said so. There was never no justification behind it. It was just like, it's my way or the highway. And then you're growing up thinking, all right, well, I got to do this just because I have to think this way. I have to do this. I have to do that just because somebody else told me to. So until we actually communicate with each other and can find reasons as to why I am doing X, Y, and Z, we're always going to continue that cycle of repetitive bad behaviors per se. So, for example, for me, growing up in a Caribbean household, you're a woman, she's supposed to be seen, not heard. All these different things we're told, and it's like, why do I have to equate myself to that? Why do I have to just be seen or be a household, not a household, be like a housewife? Why can't I like be a president? Why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? So then when you challenge the status quo, when you challenge like family traditions and beliefs, then it becomes something more impactful. Then it's like you're going against the grain. It's not so much that you're going against the grain, you're just trying to have your own mentality. So it just comes down to communication.
Yeah, communication is such a big thing. But even said, like those things that are passed down, and everyone's path, everyone's journey is different, especially in family, and just respecting that. And even if someone may not respect it, you still have to be strong in yourself to follow your journey. You may be getting pressured to get married, pressured to go to school, pressured to what are some other things that I'm missing, but you do it on your own time, your journey, right? And what that looks like for you. Go ahead.
And I would definitely just say, like, and I'm always going to equate it back to just my environment, my household. How many of us were told we have to go to school, we have to do this, we have to do that? School is not for everyone. And
It's
for
not.
so long, I feel like, especially in the Caribbean household, we're always told you got to go to school, you got to do this, you got to do that. One day, what if you wake up and it's like, all right, I got all these degrees, but what do I really have to show for it? And the only thing you can think about or say is, well, my family always told me I had to go to school, I had to be a nurse, or a nurse is not that great, so you have to be a doctor, you have to do this, you have to do that. And it's so pre-grained into you after a while where you don't even recognize, like, I'm not really living for me. I'm living vicariously through the broken dreams of my family members.
And let me tell you, those moments are going to come to you.
Mhm.
And there's two things you're going to do. You're either going to change your life or you're going to blame somebody for it. And it's hoping that you realize and you use that to change your life, right? Because you can look, we're gonna, one of our queens, Queen Cookie, she plays in Zynga, Queen of Sheba. I said in Zynga, Queen of Sheba.
See, I
Queen
went
of
along
Zynga.
with it. I'm like, yeah.
All the names are together. I'm gonna have Nate jump on after. Who fought Queen Nzinga fought until she was in her 80s. Okay. Follow your journey. Did you want to add anything else, Mickey?
No, I feel like we could speak forever, but I know that for me, because right now I'm in grad school and I know what I do want to do with my life. But if I had my way and if I didn't have responsibilities, I'd probably just drop my bags and like take a one-way flight somewhere and become like a whole flight attendant and you'll never see me. But
Listen, see,
I just want to be a flight attendant so bad. Y'all don't even know.
Me too, Mickey. Me too.
yeah,
I know that.
I'm coming too. All three of us.
That
Yeah,
has
but
been one of my dreams too.
yes. But you've been able, same thing with that. You take a time. You remember you did your road trip last year. You were able to do what you wanted to do. And that is so powerful and so freeing. King Nate, can you jump on this one? They're talking about childhood trauma and our
Right,
ancestors' enslavement. Go ahead.
right. Yes, Mickey, that was amazing what you said. Because I relate to that a lot. And you know, the only thing I would have to add on to that is that we have to like start learning how to have discernment on when, you know, the advice from our family is actually applicable to our lives versus something that we could tactfully disregard. And so what I mean by that is like your parents or your grandparents or your family as a whole, they might put this pressure on you to do things their way, or like you said, live out the dreams that they never got a chance to do. And so because of the stereotype of my parents always telling me to do, they're trying to change who I am, or they're trying to make me into someone they wanted to be. Sometimes a lot of us will run with that and we'll do the exact opposite of what's good for us, period. Like we'll take that and not even have a threshold on when we should be listening to certain advice from our parents and our loved ones, because some of them know us better than we know ourselves. And so I would just like kind of create a threshold for when we decide to listen to certain advice and be tactful enough to say, okay, well, this advice I appreciate, but I'm going to do things my way. But to always be wary of the arrogant nature that we might have, because some of us may have gone to school and our parents or grandparents may not have, or some of us may have had certain jobs that they may not have had. So we think that sometimes they don't know anything, but at the same time they do. In many of our households, like the Caribbean households, some African households, we do put this crazy pressure on us. But to get back to the original question, the trauma from the childhood and how that shapes you as an adult, I think it's important for us to understand who we are as a people. Like, if you don't really go into your history and like try to figure out who you were before we became enslaved, then you won't really have a real, in my perspective, my humblest perspective, then you won't really have like a direction on where you're going. And that's why I love Your Queen so much, because it's really rekindling a certain flame and fire inside of the young minds, not only the young minds, but the older minds. Like, for example, I got feedback from when the Queens, they came out to my birthday party down in Georgia. And I mean, like, initially people, obviously, they're going to be, okay, what's going on? You got these girls dressed in African garbs. All right, this is some lame stuff. That's the normal mindset of anybody that's in Atlanta that just want to party and just have fun. But when you're bringing that reminder of who we were, you still have those people who might joke, those people who might make fun. But at the end of the day, they took over the show, they took over the environment, they changed the tone, and they reminded the audience that you don't necessarily always have to twerk for every 5 seconds to get $1, or you don't always have to like just be lit all the time. You could literally learn who you were as kings and queens. And so I think the remedy, I'm just getting to the solution. The remedy to some of that trauma is to relearn. So to unlearn some of the stuff we've learned as people who, like I like to say, have been enslaved, not slaves, but people who have been enslaved, because I'm not a slave and neither were my ancestors. They just had a time period where they were enslaved, but they were always kings and they were always queens, right? So that's the mindset that I have. And a lot of us, we still in 2021 don't even know that history. And we may know it, but it may be vague to a lot of people. We may not have the specifics about a Queen of Sheba or Nzinga. Like, I'm learning about certain queens as well, and that I've never learned of before. And these are people that they say I come from the same country, like Nigeria and Ghana and stuff like that. So the remedy for me to deal with that trauma, it does exist, but it's to unlearn and relearn some of the history so that we could reevaluate our direction and where we're going, and to take some of the advice from our family and learn when to throw some of the advice away and learn when to keep it, so that like Eki said, we don't start holding people accountable for our forced, life or forced education or forced work environment or career goals. That's about it.
Yeah, I appreciate you, King. Thank you. I think one of the biggest thing I got from everything you said is with also the mindset. The mindset, it's so important. And yeah, still so excited about what we did in Atlanta. That was literally a dream for Your Queens, to perform, not to perform at a club. Like, we joke about this all the time. We're like, yeah, this is Your Queens at late at dark. Like, we're still giving you, so it was a dream come true. And I would say we're definitely energy shifters, because it was at a club at 2:00 in the morning and there were drinking and twerking going on. And I'm all like, you are king, African king and queen. Yes. And they loved it. They loved it. It was just shifting. But once you know who you are, you can stand. Oh, that's something I wanted to share earlier, but we'll get into the next question. And what Bless, he was saying, like, once you know who you are, and something I teach a lot with my students, you can stand strong anywhere through shame, embarrassment, trial, to even success, through greatness, to cheers. Stand in that, because it's only going to shift you to greater. All right, let's get into our last question. We are here behind the crown. We've just had an amazing conversation, inner peace and healing. I feel so great. Thank you for King Nathaniel for being here, Queen Timmy and Queen Mickey. our family and friends, y'all are awesome for chiming in. Hope you got something from this great conversation. Such a dope conversation. Thank you, Queen. I love you. I love you. One of my besties. We appreciate you. We're gonna get into our final question for tonight, but we'll be back on April 7th, and we're talking finance in the Black community. Come on, I need to hear that conversation. You know what I mean? Because we're trying to build, we're trying to be not trying, we're going to be billionaires. All right. Because we can do this, and we will. We're gonna continue. Next question. I'm gonna have Timmy jump on, Mickey, and then Nathaniel close it out. Inner peace and healing. How can we continue to heal our inner child? Something that just dropped in my head real quick, Timmy, was for me, it is being authentically myself. I find being myself, even if others feel uncomfortable, I literally trust who I am in every parts of me, and it continue to keep me to grow and heal and nurture that inner child. Also wanted to shout out family, friends, mothers, aunties, fathers who are doing the work in your family. Thank you. Shout out to my king and queen, Benson and Mercedes Asamota. I love you. I won't be here if it wasn't for you teaching everything. Y'all are awesome. My besties, I love you so much. Shout out to mothers, fathers doing the work, doing the healing work. Take it away, Timmy. I was going to call you Queemy, Timmy.
Hi, I'm Queenie. Inner peace and how can we heal the inner child? You know, lately, well, I've been doing this a lot. I've been doing a meditation where I have been calling in my inner child and just letting her know that I love her. And it's part of the meditation that I've included in the morning. It's just envisioning little Timmy next to me and letting her know that, hey, I love you, I love you, I love you. And this goes back also into what I was saying, about abandonment. And I was taking this course about inner child healing. And one thing that I learned is that, we feel so much pain, and then our younger self no longer trust us anymore. So they leave. And so getting your younger self to trust you again so you don't feel so much pain. So that's for me. That's dancing with her. I'd be hula hooping with her. And that's all inner child work. That's going back to doing things as we did as kids, whether that's be drawing, coloring outside of the lines. Go and color outside of the lines, doing things that you did as a child, and just being creative, because I read this one day that we are taught not to be creative. We are taught, all of us are creative, and we are taught not to be creative. So remembering our creativity as a little child, that's how I've been healing her, just dancing with her and remembering. So yeah, I always love that question.
Me too. It makes me smile.
Mhm.
Y'all create, y'all. Family and friends who are on here, find that thing, dust off that piano, guitar. Look, I need to dust off this. I don't know when I'm gonna have time to play, but seriously, this has been sitting here for like forever. Some of y'all know. Y'all like, Eki just pulled out a guitar. Yes, it did. I'm just trying to show you, dust it off. Be creative. Be creative. I try to be creative every single day in some way or form. It does something for me. Like Timmy said, dancing. Whew. Yes. Mickey. Inner peace, healing. Child. How do we heal? Talk to us.
I would definitely say the hurt, acknowledge the hurt and the problems that you have in your past and make peace with that so that you can grow and you can fulfill your duties, whatever you chose to do in life. For so long, we want to hold on to the feelings of neglect and hurt, but all those are doing are pulling you down. Once you're able to acknowledge, process, and do what you need to do to make yourself feel good, I definitely feel then your inner child will be at peace. But if you don't acknowledge it or you can't like get over that hump, then it's always going to block your blessing and it's always going to block your path. And for me, at least, I feel like that is why therapy and healing is important, is because you never know what someone else is going through, and you never know how that moment for them, it may seem small to you, to them, it is a part of their identity. And until they make peace with that part of their identity, it's always going to hold them back, per se.
Thank you. So well said. Acknowledge the hurt. And some people may be like, I ain't doing that. No, you're gonna keep facing it. You're gonna keep facing it. So you gotta acknowledge it and push through. And you are not alone. You are not alone. We all experience this journey, this world together through our own experiences. Thank you, Queen. King Nate, go right ahead.
Yes. First off, I want to say I appreciate always being a part of these discussions. It's actually therapy being a part of this conversation. To be honest, I'm not even gonna lie, because it allows you to release and actually hear from other people who have similar stories as well. Um, what I would say is what I found personally for myself is that when I began to start working for a corporate, I started to drift away from my artistic side. So I think one of you mentioned, I'm not sure who did, but you mentioned about like getting out and doing things that we used to love doing when we were kids. That stuff is incredibly important because me, I love to drum. Like Eki will tell you, I drum. I could just like literally like you could give me a beat, I'll repeat it. You can give me any type of song, I can play to it. I can play loud, I can play low, I can play on beat, I can play everything, right? And so for me, I used to just say, okay, if I'm focusing on drumming, I'm not taking my career seriously, or I don't got time to drum because I need to focus on these engineering problems and all of that. And what that did is it made all my locks fall out. That's what it did, right? It made my hair fall out. It made me more stressful. It made me not as productive doing the things that I want to do on the more technical side because I wasn't exploring my artistic talents. And so Your Queens is one example of how I display my artistic talent. And not only that, how I'm exposed to other people's talents as well. So one thing you got to remember is that specifically speaking about our people, we're very musically inclined people, very vocal, very vibrant, very we do a lot of things with music and song and dance, and that's a part of our DNA. And you have to realize that. And when I see people who don't express that, it makes me feel like they're not challenging their God power. And sometimes, when I exert certain things on the drum, it makes me literally think clearer for my next move in life. Not only my next move in life, but it might be something else I got to do throughout the day. And do all of that, which is good as well. We have to like use those God-given abilities that we were gifted with and things that we've learned along the way when we were children, to continue to explore. And then to add on to it, so somebody said, being accountable and honest with yourself. We go through a lot of things in life and we mess up a lot. And sometimes we ignore the F-ups or the mess ups that we had. Sometimes it's nice to revisit that so that we won't have to repeat those same mistakes. And so just keep those things mindful when you live in your life to know that you don't want to repeat those same mistakes. And like I said, therapy, creating the avenue to explore your artistic talents and just being honest with yourself, like some of you already said, that's literally the remedy and the cure for a lot of things that we have to do in order to exert our God-given powers in the earth. That's about it.
Thank you, Nate. Apologize, a call just came in. But Nate is a phenomenal drummer. Something that I appreciate about you, Nate, is like I can really talk to you, have a conversation with you as a creative, as an artist. So I could simply be like, oh, it could be last minute. Hey, we have a show right now, but I need this. He got it. 1, 2, 3. And that's something just being creative where it's naturally a part of your inner child and healing. So I'm so happy you shared that. I'm so happy. Wow, did we? You're welcome. You're welcome. Did you want to add something?
Nah, that's it. That's it. I'm here for y'all, man. I love this. This is amazing.
Yes. Pardon me. My sister is posting. Okay. Good. So we are coming to the end of our discussion. Inner Peace and Healing with Behind the Crown with your queen. Shout out to Iran Network, our brother Logic, for holding us down for all this time. We appreciate it. We thank you for this platform. Shout out to Queen Bless, who was here earlier with Life Beams Energetics. Check her out. Therapist, life coach, Reiki master, and she's going for her masters as well. Shout out to my queen, Timmy Lateral Day. Blessings for all the work that you do. My queen, Timmy. Y'all know I'm dramatic. My family and friends, I love y'all so much. We're almost done. One, Stacy, thank you. This was so enlightening. It's here for us as well. Definitely for us as well. Timmy, did you want to say something? Go right ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to add, I just wanted to add something about like reparenting. And this came into when I was discussing earlier on. And you know, and hearing Mickey talk as well, you know, right now as an adult, we have the ability to reparent our younger self and our inner child. You know, the things that you didn't hear as you was when you were younger, you can go back in that time and literally talk to your younger self, you know, and it's like, you know, we have these gifts and ability to go back in time. We are able to do it. So it's all part of reparenting and hearing the things you wish you would have heard, you know, and healed those times. So I wanted to add that in this question. So thank you.
Yeah, that was so necessary. Thank you for adding. Yay! Nate had to go, but we thank you for dropping in. Queens, one word for the space. One word for this experience. What word do you have, Mickey? I know. We're thinking for family and friends who are on here, give us one word. One word. Stacy said this was very enlightening. I'm taking that word. I'm taking it, but we're gonna put that. Anybody else has one word? Mine is peace. My word is peace.
Restorative.
Say it again.
Restorative.
Restorative. Yes. Put that crown on.
Mhm.
I will say boundaries.
Boundaries. So important.
Yes, it came up, so I'm like, I'm gonna just leave that. Boundary.
Boundaries. Yeah. Before we close, I want you guys to stay on. We have another show coming on, a tape of a show that we did earlier with my sister, life coach. It was called The 5 Commitments by the Gift Agency, LLC, coaching by Osa, which is my sister, a Women's History Month special finale that we're gonna show at 8 p.m. I can't wait to re-see it. Osa is a dynamic queen. She's on the board of Your Queens. She's I call her a chief. She's a wife, a mother of 3, and she put on something earlier called The 5 Commitments. And check it out. It talks about love, talks about finance, talks about mental health. So it's really, really powerful and transformative. Again, we are Your Queens for Behind the Crown. We thank you. We'll be back next Wednesday at 7 p.m. talking finance. But before we close out, it's on my spirit. I'm going to ask my queens, can you unmute for me? I want to do a final affirmation. And then our family and friends who are tuning in, do this at home as well. Okay? Y'all ready? Real
Yes.
simple. So I want you to just start and just say, I love myself.
I love
I
myself.
love myself.
Right. I really love myself.
I
I
really
really love myself.
Nah, I really, really, really
I
love
really.
love myself.
Queens. I love you.
Queens, we love you.
Too.
And thank you. We'll see you next Wednesday.
See you.
This was awesome. Thank you, Queen Logic.
It was.
8 p.m. 5 Commitments. Stay tuned. Bye.